into the international arena that surrounds Israel at this point. We're joined by Arsen Ostrovsky, attorney and CEO, International Legal Forum. Good to have you with us. First on the UN, I know we have some other aspects to discuss here. We're again seeing, the Palestinian Authority primarily lead a charge against Israel in these international forums. Israel back at battle in the UN, for example.
Look, I don't think Israel's ever left battle at the UN. There's only, generally we say there's only two things: certain life, death and taxes. We can add a third, that Israel will always be singled out for opprobrium and double standards at the United Nations. It's really quite absurd that everything happening in the world, literally the world around us, is in flames with Iran, Syria, you name it, and yet they choose to single out and focus on this one issue when really there wasn't any issue at all. It's something that's been manufactured into a crisis for discussion at the United Nations.
Yeah, that special emergency session over Itamar Ben-Gvir's short visit to the Temple Mount area, obviously, well, not an issue that's going away. I want to get your thoughts on another thing. This interesting display we had from Harvard's Kennedy School of International Relations that turned down the former Human Rights Watch director Ken Roth for a senior fellowship position there, and specifically citing his, history, his record of, being an antagonist to Israel. I don't know how to even frame it exactly, but for him leading the charge on all that. Now, how did you see this issue playing out? Because he's been outspoken already. Roth has already taken to social media, sort of complaining about this. What's your read on how this played out and how the cards fell for Roth in this circumstance?
Look, I think that Harvard ought to be applauded in this case for taking the principled decision to deny Roth a fellowship in this case. Roth is someone who has a long-standing, visceral hatred of Israel. He is someone who has peddled Jew hatred and anti-Semitism. In fact, he has blamed Israel for the rise of global anti-Semitism. He is someone who has accused Israel of the apartheid slur.
Yeah, that's been a big part of his campaign.
Big part. He's not just accused Israel, but really led that charge at Human Rights Watch. It got so bad that even in 2009, the former Human Rights Watch founder, Bernstein, actually accused Ken Roth of losing perspective over his time at the Human Rights Watch, over the disproportionate focusing, singling out of Israel. Really, Roth is someone who masquerades as a human rights leader, but he peddles in Jew hatred and anti-Semitism, and appointing someone like Roth to a fellowship on human rights at Harvard is like appointing someone from KKK to discuss civil rights and religious tolerance.
So for now, he did not, get the fellowship there at least. The wider picture, though, Israel's back locked in battle in all these arenas, whether it be again Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, the United Nations. Not exactly a friendly environment for Israel in any of these arenas.
It's not a friendly environment, and you know what? A shocking story. It hasn't been a friendly environment, and it doesn't matter what kind of government, quite frankly, there is in Israel, whether it's right-wing, left-wing. The one constant has always been Palestinian rejectionism and terror, and the international community's enablement of that. Israel will always have to deal with a hostile international environment. That is the case, and it only underscores the need and requirement for us, for all of us who care about the truth, who care about the rule of law, democracy, who care about Israel receiving fair treatment and equal treatment, to speak out against this kind of bias and hypocrisy.
Arsen Ostrovsky, always interesting to get your thoughts on these issues. I see these stories, bubble up, the situation at Harvard. Interesting to get your perspective on it, so thanks for joining us on the program here on Zoom In. We'll have you back.